It is August 6th, 2017. I would like everyone to remember this day because this is the absolute last time that you will ever hear me review a Transformers movie. Transformers, hopefully the last night. So Transformers stars Marky Mark Wahlberg, Anthony Hopkins, and a bunch of other people. Your favorite Autobots are back. The Decepticons that just refused to die have returned. And this movie, oh my god. There is so much wrong with this movie. I'm just trying to remain calm. This movie takes place in the medieval times of King Arthur and the wizard Merlin. It turns out that the magic that Merlin possesses is actually Transformers' ability. Let's just say that. It's not magic at all, it's science. It's mostly science. Stanley Tucci plays Merlin, which I think is funny because I believe he was in the previous Transformers movie with Mark Wahlberg, but he was a completely different character. One of the Knights of Unicron, I believe is what he called himself, crash landed on Earth and gave him a staff that binded to his DNA so he could be the only wielder of this supposedly magic staff. And in the process, he's able to, I guess, manipulate a giant three-headed dragon, which obviously from afar looks like a dragon, but of course when you get close up, it's a metal transformer. Which to me at first, I thought that was very clever. There's a lot of clever parts in this movie, but not enough to save it. I feel like this is several movies just crammed into one. There could be just one movie dedicated to the medieval times of King Arthur, Wizard Merlin, and the Transformers. There is a scene involving Nazi Germany and Bumblebee. That could be a movie all by itself. You know, there are several spots in this film that could have been movies on their own. The exposition is almost like this. It almost never stops. They're forcing all of this useless information down your throat. And I hate it so much. You don't even get any character development when you do something like that. You're just moving the story along. I was mildly entertained when the movie eventually started to slow down and give us actual backstory. Not exposition, but backstory. That's when I actually finally enjoyed it. Because I was able to relax and breathe and start feeling for some of these characters. And then the next thing you know, explosion, car chase, car crash, another explosion. If there were jokes in this film, either I didn't hear them or I didn't get them because there was nothing funny in this movie to me. The only thing that even sounded remotely like a joke was when Anthony Hopkins was talking about Mark Wahlberg not having sex for a long time. Thankfully, we already know about Mark Wahlberg from a previous movie. I didn't watch any of those. I've seen the first one, I've seen the second one, and I've seen this one. And that was still a mistake. I should not have done that. There was way too much crap going on at one time. It's very difficult to focus on one thing or another. It really is. There are way too many Transformers in this movie. Autobots or Decepticons. There's a ton of them. And it's almost... I don't even want to call it a visual spectacle. It's almost too much. Like, my brain is not able to comprehend this. Maybe it's because I haven't seen any of the other movies besides 1 and 2 that might have had a handful of Transformers, and then you move on. Like, they keep adding Transformers, but, like, almost none of them die. My wife would not appreciate the use of female actors. She would not have been impressed by the smoking hot museum historian, because that makes absolutely no sense, no offense. But I just don't buy it. The other female actor is a little girl named Isabella, with a Z, mind you. She's in the movie in the beginning, and then she's in the movie at the end, and that's it. She felt shoehorned throughout the movie, and it made no sense to me. She was good. She was actually really, really good. I really hope to see her in other movies. Besides Transformers. Hopefully no Transformers. I felt like this movie was written by like a 12-year-old. Who plays way too much video games and has seen way too much explosions for it to make any sense. Like, hey, what's that thing with all the rocks and the And they're old, like 1,000 years old? You mean Stonehenge? Yeah, let's write that into the movie. Let's use that as a timepiece or some sort of X marks the spot type of crap. The man from Sector 7 plays a small role, and then he leaves. It's so funny how they try to shoehorn every single character. It looks like they're trying to close a lot of doors and end a few chapters, but then they open just one grand one at the very end of the movie. So obviously it's not going to end. Optimus Prime is supposed to be dead. He's resurrected about 2 hours into the movie. This movie's 2.5 hours, by the way. That is ridiculous. This is not Godfather. This is a flaming car crash. You know, you're watching the cars go around the turn over and over again, hoping that someone's going to wreck, and it's going to be a flip, and then another flip, and then an explosion, and then another explosion, and then here comes more and more cars. There's a ton of explosions because, you know, this is a Michael Bay movie. Like, fingers crossed that this is the final Michael Bay Transformers movie. I did not like the forced love interest between the two main characters. I did not like that at all. I'm trying to figure out why Anthony Hopkins even bothered to sign on to this. I feel like one of his grandkids was like, Grandpa, I love Transformers. You should do a Transformers movie. So he did it for his grandkids. That's the only thing I can think of. The character with the most depth, other than the ones who I already know, there's a new one out there called Codman. He's a butler, a robot butler. I mean, when I say that there are a lot of Transformers, I mean there are a lot of Transformers. You know, Grimlock is in there, Hot Rod is in there. John freaking Goodman plays one of the Transformers. Bumblebee, of course, returns. He's supposed to be the leader since Optimus Prime is dead, and when he comes back, he's under some sort of magic spell because obviously they're not going to try to kill him. He's freaking Optimus Prime. They snap him out of it. I'm not going to lie to you. The last 30 minutes of this movie was so jarring and so all over the place. I just tuned it out. There was no sense of peril. Again, in these movies that I've been watching, I don't feel a sense of peril at all. But then again, I don't care about Mark Wahlberg's character or any of these other characters. The one I like the most, Anthony Hopkins, died 45 minutes ago. There's no point. There's no reason for me to feel interested in a movie like this. I don't care about your Transformers. The Transformers should have died by now. Now I'm just getting bothered by the whole franchise. It has to do with Michael Bay. It has to do with the writers, and it has to do with the production studio. When a movie is great, you know, you have to give credit to the studio, the director, the writers, like all the actors, and everybody. You got to give credit to everybody. When a movie is total garbage, it's the same thing. It's the studio's fault. It's the director's fault. It's the writer's fault. All the actors who do their best with what they have, it does not improve the film at all. The only reason why I chose to go see this movie is because my friends wanted me to review it. That's the first thing. And I was hoping to the movie gods that this would be the last Transformers movie. But I just found out that they are making a Bumblebee spin-off / prequel starring The Rock, supposedly. Are you freaking kidding me? There was a lot wrong with this movie. A lot. Just like every other Transformers movie, probably. This movie is garbage. I was right. I predicted that it was going to be garbage, just like all the other ones. If you enjoyed it, good for you. You must have a short attention span if you really enjoyed this movie. Please, tell me what you thought of this movie. If you enjoyed it, please give me a reason why you enjoyed it. Give me an explanation. Because I'm clearly not seeing it. How is Unicron Earth now? Are you telling me it absorbed Earth at some point within the last billion years? So the major spoiler of this movie is that Earth is Unicron. In case you're wondering why every single Transformer wants to come to Earth, they're basically being pulled into the atmosphere of Earth because it's Unicron. Our planet, our Earth, is a freaking Transformer. Did you think this was a good movie? Did you think that this was garbage like me? Like, message me, comment below. Don't forget to subscribe.